Hello, everybody. Welcome to Take the Black Live, the weekly show where myself, Dan Selcke of winnerscoming.net, and Mia Johnson of Fansided.com break down every single thing that is happening in the world of pop culture, sci-fi, fantasy, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Star Trek, and so on and so forth, until we have completely exhausted our ability to speak and think. Mia, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. I'm coming off of another long, I guess, holiday weekend. It's like, do I even work anymore? I think I do. But no, I'm happy to have the time off because I know, like, once the fall hits, it's going to be a different story. So I'm like, I'm going to take all the time off I can get. How about you?
Hope the fall might be like our last gasp of new television such for a while until the coronavirus starts abating and folk get back to making shows, which they are starting to do, by the way. There are more reports about, like, The Witcher going back to work, The Lord of the Rings going back to work, Stranger Things going back to work. It's all starting to happen. But then again, we keep hearing things about the virus getting worse. So who knows if there's a second lockdown in the offing. It'll just have to be an exciting minute-by-minute thrill ride like it has for the past couple of months.
Wow, what a fun time. This is the best movie of 2020. It is 2020.
Oh, God, the movie 2020. Does anybody in the comments remember when we used to do this show at a little studio at our office and we sat in chairs across from each other? Because I cannot. It feels very distant and far.
Yeah. Oh, well, distant memories.
Yeah. But anyway, even though we might be in trouble in a few months, there are still lots of announcements coming up. In fact, we have a bunch of new things hit like today and yesterday. I thought we would do a little lightning round of all the exciting TV and a couple of movie announcements that have just been coming down the pipe last couple of days. And just tell me how excited you are. Okay, it's going to be a little lightning round thing. First up, yesterday, after a delay, Netflix announced The Last Kingdom Season 5 is on its way. The Last Kingdom, the medieval tale of Uhtred, son of Uhtred of Bebbanburg, who is going to reclaim his ancestral homeland in, like, I want to say, like, 8th century England, around there-ish. Really great show. I'm finally starting to watch it. Great story. Very much a Game of Thrones replacement, because it's all about the politics, all about the characters, minus the dragons and the ice zombies. Mia, The Last Kingdom Season 5. Are you going to get on board with the show?
You know, I'm still a hard sell for fantasy that's outside of Game of Thrones. But I do like the enthusiasm, so I'll leave it at that.
I'm going to go with an 8. Out of what? I'm not going to tell you. By the way, Karen suggests do a custom backdrop of your studio. We can think about that. We can get some green screens behind us. We can be in the Sahara doing this show or something.
Ooh.
We also got next, just today, The Umbrella Academy released a trailer for the second season coming to Netflix July 31st. Super dysfunctional superhero family goes back in time. Apparently, I watched the trailer, there's a new apocalypse they had to prevent in 10 days' time, just like in the first season, but now it's in the 60s. President Kennedy's assassination is involved somehow. Mia, are you interested in this one? 1 to 10.
Yeah, I'll give it a good solid, like, 8.5 out of that 10. Yeah. And unfortunately, I do have to catch up because I stopped watching it. I think I told you all this before.
Right.
But now that the second season is coming, I'm like, okay, you know what? I actually did like Umbrella Academy. I'm just a commitment phobe when it comes to watching TV, apparently.
That's very happy to have. Yeah, I enjoyed the first season. Definitely wacky. I like that we're getting to the point where, like, we have so much superhero stuff, you know? Like, between the Marvel and the DC, so many movies out there that the superhero shows, like, that there's now, like, superhero counter-programming where we get something as weird as the Umbrella Academy, where all the heroes are incredibly dysfunctional and have just bizarre powers. Like, the one character, the best one, Klaus, can talk to the dead and is talking to their dead superhero sibling who has, like, tentacles in his body, and he can summon the dead back so much that they can actually use the tentacle body to fight bad guys. It gets really odd and really strange. Yeah. And he's like a completely fabulous gender-bending, like, likes to wear blouses kind of countercultural figure too, which is just refreshing for a superhero show. So I like that the shows that we get sometime now, superheroes, they're so in vogue that we can have lots of different kinds now.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Speaking of superhero shows that walk a bit of a different path, what about The Boys Season 2, coming September 4th?
Ooh, yeah.
Go ahead. Did you watch this one?
No, I didn't, and I think that's also before I recently just got Amazon Prime, guys, because I was like, it's a whole nother story. But this one, it's kind of interesting because it's like the superheroes are the bad guys or something, like they're not to be trusted or something like that. And they put up like this kind of facade. I do think it's an interesting premise. I'll give it that.
Yeah, they are amoral fiends who just gleefully abuse their power and are just the worst of the worst, have to be taken down. Again, like another superhero show that is, we have so many superhero stories being told right now, we can afford to do something way off the beaten path.
Yeah.
And like, what if Captain America was a heartless jackass who just liked to kill folk for fun? Like, this is what this show is. And he has to be taken down. I actually haven't watched it, but I do know it has a fan base because everything superheroes does. I'd be curious to check it out if I can find 8 spare hours in my day, which we'll see what that happens. But yeah, I'd say a good 7. I think it's interesting. I love Carl Urban. That guy has been grinding.
Oh yeah. I'll give it a nice 6.
Yeah, solid 6. And finally, we got a poster and release date for Lovecraft Country, which is coming August 16th to HBO and HBO Max, which is the least confusing and best streaming service out there. This one I do want to see. First season, not a continuation. And again, like a fun, offbeat, interesting premise. Some people make to have a road trip through Jim Crow era South, which is bad enough by itself, but then you also add in many tentacled Lovecraftian monsters, and I mean, Mia, it sounds like they're going to have a hard time.
Yeah, it's an interesting subject, and it's from it's from what's that, Monkey Paw Production, so kind of backed by Jordan Peele, also backed by, I believe, Bad Robot, J.J. Abrams. So it's definitely interesting, but yeah, the whole sort of like Jordan Peele like cinematic universe thing he has going on has just been really exciting at the way that they kind of try to look at horror at the intersection of race. And I'm like, wow, it certainly is the concept. And I'm like, well, I was a fan of, some of the other works that Jordan Peele has put out. So I'm like, yeah, I'm sold. I kind of have to watch this.
You're like, who would have thought that the guy from Key and Peele, like the short one, would have gone on to be like a new horror movie icon?
Yeah.
But when it works, it works. So good for him.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Wow, that's next month already.
It's cool that we do still have all this new stuff coming up. Although, again, I say we got it coming for a while. I do think we should brace for a big drought in, like, the fall, maybe. Like, November, December. Definitely next year. Early next year. But, we'll cross that horrible bridge when we come to it. Today, I wanted to talk about, beyond all that cool news things, and if anybody in the comments is here, are you excited for any of that? The Boys, Umbrella Academy, Last Kingdom, Lovecraft Country, something else entirely, because there's a lot to watch. We also heard about, what I wanted to just touch on, Amazon, the makers of The Boys and Carnival Row and Mrs. Maisel and other things, is making a TV show from the video game Fallout by the RPG company Bethesda. Now, I haven't played Fallout. I play video games every once in a while, not as much as I'd like to. Who has the time? But I wanted to bring this up, not so much because I want to talk about the game, because I haven't played it. Have you? Are you a Fallout fan?
I'm a fan-ish. I don't play. I know about it. I kind of like everything about it. So I know enough about it,
okay. Why don't you break it down? What is Fallout?
Oh, gosh. From my memory, there's several games. Basically kind of about like a post-apocalyptic society where, at least I know with Fallout 4, it's like this nuke goes off in this town and they've got in order to save humanity, they created these vaults, underground vaults, where humanity resides, to kind of, like save themselves from all the destruction. And there are different vaults, I believe, throughout the country. And specifically, these vaults all have like different sort of experimentation that was going down. So you can come from like vault, I don't know, 11, or making up numbers here, but it's an interesting concept for sure.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's a post-apocalyptic show, which isn't like wildly original. We got a lot of those going on. Mostly, I was interested in talking about this because with this edition, I feel like there are suddenly a lot of shows based on video games coming. Like, we have this Fallout show, we have the Halo show going in at Showtime, interesting topic there. We have sort of The Witcher on Netflix, which is based on the books, but let's be honest, it would not have happened without the games being popular. Yeah. And the showrunners even said, like, oh yeah, like, I'm fully aware that our audience is a big part of the games, and we're going to try to see as much as we can. And most notably, we have a show coming to HBO, the classiest of all networks, from the guy who made Chernobyl, based on The Last of Us, which is another post-apocalyptic zombie game in this case. And I just wanted to bring it up because it seems like after decades of kind of being like the gutter trash of the entertainment industry, people are earnestly trying to make video game TV shows and movies now that are actually respectable. Mm-hmm. And it took a lot. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to be good. Like, I thought The Witcher was kind of like, but people seem to really like it. But I just think it's interesting that for so many years we had, like, the Doom movie and the Assassin's Creed movie and, like, these kind of, at best, middling attempts to adapt video games that, like, even when they were okay, they were never that great. And often they were, like, awful. Like, if you want to go for, like, Postal or Dungeon Siege or anything you would Bull touched. But now we have, like, if a network like HBO is making a video game movie, they're going to at least try to, like, make it good. Again, there's no guarantee it will. Oh, and the Amazon thing, the Fallout thing, is from people who did Westworld. Yeah. So, we have problems with Westworld, but they definitely come with, like, a good pedigree. Like, they're known for doing serious programming. So I just thought that was interesting that apparently we've turned a corner. What do you think about that, Mia?
Yeah. As far as the Fallout specifically, I kind of have hope, even with it coming from the Fallout, the Westworld people, is that usually when you give a person another chance at, like, a new series or something, they're going to do pretty good with it. Maybe because it's new and because they haven't exhausted all the ideas from the other series. So you're like, okay. And then, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, Westworld has been on for so many years. Maybe they've run out of steam. Maybe they've hit a wall. So they need something new to kind of, stretch that creativity. It comes out really nice. So I'm hopeful for it. But yeah, I think what's happening now is that just video games in general have a really good foundation for this kind of storytelling, whether it be a movie or TV show, whatever it is. What's interesting, though, is something like Sonic, where there's really there have been Sonic games with storylines. It's not just running.
Yeah, there have. And apparently they're very Byzantine and complex, but that's another story.
I can tell you the history of some of those storylines, but there are definitely better games with better storylines out now, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing. Like, The Last of Us 2 just came out. That one actually was kind of criticized. Some people are a little bit tied about the story, but I would say no doubt at least the first one had a really solid story. It was compelling, it was emotional, and all these things. So yeah, I would say it's no surprise now that the strength of these video games are being used for these more traditional, so to speak, storytelling methods.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Corinne wishes they had gone with Skyrim as a show, which I could also completely see, by the way.
Ooh, yeah.
Perhaps I thought it was, like, too Game of Thronesy, maybe. But then again, like, Fallout is too, like, every post-apocalyptic thing out there, so maybe their options weren't very good.
Yeah.
I mean, even what you said about The Last of Us 2, like, I do know that game came out, got a lot of criticism, also got a lot of love. I mean, even that, like, when people talk about it, talking about, like, the story did this, the story did that, like, people are taking the story seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I'm old enough to remember when the story was just, like, a little appendage that barely mattered in a video game. But with The Last of Us 2, I mean, I'm aware of what happens in it, like, the reason people are mad is because it is doing something different and challenging. Like, maybe you don't like it, but it's earnestly trying to elevate itself, which again is just not something games did for a long time. And people in the TV and movie industries, they looked at them and assumed it was all crap. And I'm sure a lot of it is. But it just seems to me that there's now a new level of respect and curiosity about what they're doing in games. I don't think we've had a great one yet. I'll say that. I don't think, even like the things like the Sonic movie or the Detective Pikachu movie, I'd call them very watchable. Like, but they're not really ambitious enough to be like great, you know? They're great entertainments, which is perfectly fine. I mean, that's something you'll need. That's been great. And I saw the first one in the theater, and that feels like it was 100 years ago, which was nice. So I just think if we could. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I would say I think if we could take some of the newer stuff, because you're right, the old stuff it wasn't like a focus. Like one of the newer games to come out like within the last couple weeks or so was like this really old SpongeBob game that came out in 2006. Everybody's playing it for some reason. And like looking back at it, it's like, yeah, you're literally just SpongeBob and you're jumping around and going through levels. It's all about the gameplay. So you realize like in the span of this last decade plus, you're like, oh wow, you know, games have really changed. I'm not just playing just to play. There's so much more immersion to it. So I would be interested to see something like Fallout, something like Last of Us.
Me too.
Also maybe something along the lines of like Red Dead Redemption.
That's a popular one, yeah.
There was something else on my mind as well, but I think that the foundation of these stories is something that I think will kind of push them into the upper echelon of like, you know, finally we have good video game movies and TV shows.
Yep, I'm definitely curious to see what happens with it, and maybe there'll be. Yeah, go ahead.
It was Fallout. I like Fallout 4. And they are making a movie about that, but I don't have faith about the movie, and that's all I'll say.
I'm sorry, they're making a movie too?
They're making a... Oh, no. I meant to say, oh my gosh, not Fallout. What, the Uncharted, that's what I meant to say, Uncharted 4. Uncharted. Yeah, I do not have faith in that movie.
Like, I don't really either, but again, like, the fact that Tom Holland is like a big star tells you that they're at least going to have a try. Then again, The Rock, the Doom movie, and that blew. So, I mean, it's not a guarantee of anything. So that's where video game movies are. Good. I wish you the best, video game movies.
Oh, yeah.
Switching over to musical theater. You, I think, got an interview with someone on the cast, or actually just explain it. Something to do with Hamilton.
Yeah,
Hamilton's musical was released with the original cast on Disney Plus last week.
Yeah, over the weekend, 4th of July weekend. So
definitely blew up. I believe it was released way ahead of time, right? Like they were going to release it later.
Yeah, and they were like, yeah, why not now? Which I mean, this was a 2016 recording of the original cast. Because at first I was like, oh wait, are all the cast members getting together or something? But no, it was like, no. I believe Hamilton began running in 2015. Then it kind of hit a peak in 2016. That's when they're like, okay, yeah, let's film this with everybody before they, you know, move on. And so, yeah, they've just been kind of sitting on this footage for 4 years, and now they're like, well, okay, we'll release it on Disney Plus. So it was really exciting to have that happen. Everybody's got Hamilton fever again.
And who did you talk to?
Yeah, today I talked to Solea Pfeiffer, who was part of the national touring cast of Hamilton, I believe, kind of like as the Broadway show was kind of simultaneously going on as well. And she played Eliza Schuyler, who is one of the 3 Schuyler sisters in the play. One of them marries Hamilton. One of them has a crush on Hamilton. I think the other one just kind of dies and then she goes away. But no, it was really interesting to hear kind of from her perspective how great it was. For her, it was all about being a part of a very diverse cast and kind of getting to see people of color on stage and coming together. And it sounded to me like a really exciting experience. And she was like, yeah, I've been a Lin-Manuel Miranda fan for a really long time. He also made like In the Heights, which is going to be a movie as well, which was first on Broadway. So she loved that about him. And she's like, yeah, it's just a dream come true. So that interview will be coming out soon with more about her. But yeah, it was just really exciting for me to kind of watch that over the weekend.
Very cool. Did you see it on the stage?
I did. I got to see it for my birthday 2 years ago in Chicago here. That was really exciting because when I was in New York living there, I was like always constantly entering the lottery for Hamilton. I was like, please, please, please. Never got it. And it's like cutthroat to back then to try to get Hamilton tickets, like to be like waiting on PayPal and seeing like the loading symbol going on and on and on. I was like, but it was great to see that live. Did you happen to see it when it came here to town?
I did, yeah. It might have been the same performance you were at. It was about 2 years ago. But yeah, I saw it when Wayne Brady was playing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Who did he play? Oh, Aaron Burr.
Yeah. Yeah, I missed that. My brother
like, Wayne Brady got
said you didn't miss anything. Good. Yeah. Did he really?
Yeah, he was good.
Wow. Yeah, I think he had like just left by the time I went to go see it. So that was that. But yeah, it was, did you kind of like the format of the, like live theater, but streaming? For me, it was like, I did enjoy it that I got to watch it over again, but I was like, man, like my stepmother didn't get to see it and she was watching it. We watched as a family this weekend. I was like, man, if she could only see like from, the whole stage or get to feel the music. I was like, that's the one thing that's missing is that live experience.
Yeah, I mean, like filmed plays and musicals are an interesting sell because obviously like they're not playing for the cameras,
Mm-hmm.
Like they're playing for the audience, and they just happen to be being recorded. It's a different experience. So you definitely don't get the experience just watching it. But theaters don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So you might as well take what you can get.
Yeah.
This is like not fantasy or sci-fi at all. But I am curious. I've always wondered why they don't make these kinds of musicals into movies more quickly. Like, we're getting an In the Heights movie. Okay, great. But why hasn't there been a Hamilton movie? Why in the world was there never a Wicked movie? Like, I'm sure there are others. Like, they're just these big shows. Like, it took, like, 25 years to get a Phantom of the Opera movie, like 30 years to get a Cats movie, and nobody wanted it. Like, why? Do you have any idea? Why does it take so long for this to happen?
I really have no idea. And I know the Wicked movie, to me, it feels like that movie has like silently been in production, I believe, with Universal for like maybe a decade now. And I honestly have no clue. It's like the X-Files. It's like what's going on. Hamilton should definitely, as soon as it became popular, they should have already been trying to be shopping, to get studios on board. Something like Dear Evan Hansen, which I believe was like supposed to come to town this summer, and now I can't go see it. So that's a big bummer. But yeah, it is kind of curious to think, like, why don't these things happen faster? Is it because they want, to put more press or more, exposure out to the theater side of things? I don't know. Theater costs a lot of money anyway, so if you could make a movie,
I figure it's got to be a rights thing. I mean, it has to be. Like, if people wanted to make money, they would make a Harry Potter and the Cursed Child movie like 5 years ago. I figure it's got to be the theater owners being like, we're not going to give you the film rights, because if we do, then no one will come to see the show. Which I don't know if that's true, but because I feel like that's not why you go to the theater, really. It's not like, it's I don't know. It's not like I saw the movie, so I don't have to see this. It's a different experience. Mm-hmm. But I think it's the thinking. But I think it's ridiculous, too, because, I mean, Hamilton fevers go down. Like, you probably should get this on now. But it is not to be. We seem to have burned through our topics pretty quickly this week, faster than I thought we would. So full of passion are we. Any thoughts? Yeah.
Oh, well. I did. Oh, I was going to say I did add that for this Disney Plus. Now, they were boasting that they had a lot of new subscribers for Disney Plus. It does say they had like a 72% increase in downloads.
Seriously.
But there were like a couple of friends who were like, okay, fine, I'm going to get Disney Plus just so I can watch Hamilton. So I was like, okay, I'll give it to Disney. Oh, but the thing that they did that was sneaky Disney Plus is that right in time for Hamilton, they got rid of their 7-day trial. I was like, oh, sneaky Disney.
That is nasty. Got it. Yeah, Disney Plus has really staked its territory and made its claim on being something really indispensable. They've killed it. I mean, this is, I did see one article saying, and I kind of agree, that like Hamilton is kind of the first must-see thing on the service since The Mandalorian. Like, which was, I guess, not that long ago. It was like 8 months ago. It's not like it was years and years. I'm not sure Netflix has like must-see things come out that fast. But, I mean, you get 2 must-see things in a year, and I'm not surprised that their subscribership has ballooned up to, I wonder what it is. Are there numbers on it, or we just know that it's been increasing?
I was trying to look into that. This was like an app company that did the research, so they were like, just know that we got more I think they said they got more subscriber than app downloads, so like in the 100,000s, I believe, like way more than that. But don't take my word for that because I didn't write it down. But it did look like a significant amount of people had joined.
Yeah, they are set. And I mean, and next they have, and again, they're well situated because they have new Mandalorian seasons coming up. They have all the new Marvel shows coming out this fall. They got like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They got the WandaVision. That could be like the next can't miss sort of thing. And get even more people. If I were Netflix, I'd be scared. I would be legitimately afraid because Disney Plus seems to really be racking up a lot of strength very quickly.
Whew.
And Hulu's also awesome, by the way, which is owned by Disney. So it's no matter which way you turn, I'm supporting the evil empire. But the TV's good.
That's very true.
Any other thoughts, maybe, about anything? Are you watching anything besides Hamilton?
Am I watching anything? No, I'm going to get caught up on Umbrella Academy. I think I'm going to start that tonight so that I am not behind by the time it comes out at the end of the month. I've got plentiful time, and I'm going to hold myself to it.
Beautiful. Yeah. I finished probably doing The Shadows, which I cannot recommend strongly enough. I really can't.
Yeah.
Like, very funny, very different, very interesting. Just, I'm upset there are only 2 seasons now. That was great. Still watching The Last Kingdom. And that's about it for me. I'm sure I'll do more. And a Grocery Pulse Drag Race always. All Stars 5.
Yeah. Oh, ooh.
We'll see where that goes. All right, Mia. Well, if you're still with us, thanks for watching. We are available wherever podcasts are downloadable, including on Google Play and iTunes. Feel free to review us. However many stars you feel is appropriate, as long as it's 5 or under, or over, sorry. And we'll be back every Wednesday at 4 Central Standard Time here in the Winter is Coming Facebook page, talking about Game of Thrones, Song of Fire, Star Wars, fantasy, sci-fi. We did a musical detour this week, but, how could we not? It
was my evil doing.
Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.